Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to another moment of inspiration with me, Dr. BB. Hello, hello. I hope you are all enjoying yourself and wherever you are in this vast planet and that you are remaining safe. So today we're going to talk a little bit about some things I learned about myself after being single for 15 years after divorce. Back in 2006, I finalized a divorce, something that I spent a long time fighting because I really did want that marriage to last. But unfortunately, that was not the plan that God had for me. Yes, I enjoyed being married. I enjoyed being a wife to someone I truly did love. But things happened and that love was not reciprocated back to me. But that's not what I want to talk to you about today. I want to talk to you about what I learned after divorce and after being single for 15 years. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, I was single for 15 years. Not by force, but it was a choice. And the reason why I say a choice because I didn't want to get in another relationship and bring with me baggage from my last relationship, which would have been hence my marriage to that person. So I took a conscious step and decision in my life at that point in time to not date anyone. With that being said, some of the things that I learned being single 15 years was one, and the first most important thing is I had to forgive. I had to learn how to forgive my ex for what I endured with him throughout the duration of our marriage. When we got to the point of being separated and he moved on to another relationship without our marriage being fully dissolved through divorce. So I had to find it within myself to forgive him. But then also I had to forgive myself. Forgive myself for allowing myself to take myself through all the years that we were separated and not sign the divorce paper. So I faulted myself for the process or the period in time that it took for us to get divorced, because it took about probably give or take 5 years because I kept fighting it. So I had to forgive myself. So that was two of the major things I had to do. I had to forgive him for what he did to me. Then I had to forgive myself for what I allowed myself to endure throughout that duration. And then again, also, I had to apologize. I had to apologize to him for what he did to me. And when I say he did to me, I felt like at that time I was emotionally scarred because of the things that were being said and the things that had been done. Not realizing that now that I look back, it was for my good that all that happened. Because had it not happened, I would not be who I am today. So I had to forgive him. And then in the same sense, I had to apologize to myself, my inner self. I had to apologize to Bessie. So you can say that the forgiveness and the apology went hand in hand. But I also had to do a major thing in when I say apologize and forgive. I had to do a deep dive within myself to forgive myself for the words I spoke out in the atmosphere. And when I say that is that we would get in heated arguments, and the first thing that I would say is, I want a divorce. I want a divorce. I want a divorce. So it seems to me, as I look back and reflect, that that thing that I spoke out manifested itself because I kept saying it as a hurtful and harmful way to get back at him. Little did I know that it eventually would happen and it would come into fruition. So I guess what I'm trying to tell you is be careful what the words you speak, because although that was my downfall, my tongue, it's the smallest thing on your body, but it's the most powerful thing that can hurt and diminish and crush anything in life. You know, the word of God says that there is power and life in the tongue. So instead of me speaking life, I spoke death to my relationship to that person. So be very conscientious of the words you speak, because once you speak them out, you can't take them back. So I had to apologize for him, and then I had to apologize to myself. And then at the same time, I had to forgive myself, because I knew I took part in the demise of my marriage to that person. So I couldn't put it all on him. I played a part in the dissolution of our marriage. So from that, after those years, and I took that deep dive, and I forgave him, I forgave myself, I apologized, and I worked through that. Then I took the rest of the time and I said, hey, I need to take time out just for me, because I still had young sons, and I didn't want them to see me crushed and at a state of that I can't make it, or seem like I was like out of my mind. So I had to take time for myself and take time out for healing. I had to heal. And all that healing came into play as well with the forgiveness and the apologies that were made to him and myself, and then anybody else that was around me, because I could say at that time in life, I was a little bit angry. I was angry at the world. And, at one point I can say I was a little angry at God, but I couldn't fault God, because that was the actions of my own accord that allowed or ended up for my marriage ending the way it did. So I took time out to heal. And within that healing, I reestablished a stronger and deeper relationship with Jesus Christ. And by doing so, I started learning more about me, and I started unpacking some things that I did not deal with beforehand. Meaning I rushed into a marriage before getting to know the person that I was married to and what I was marrying to, because I was like, oh, I love him, he loves me, and we just gonna make it, and we made plans and blah, blah, blah. But one thing I didn't do is I did not consult God about this person. I just rushed into it. I rushed into it not understanding that he had some isms and schisms, I like to call them. And then I had some things that I had to deal with. And that one thing was immaturity. I was not prepared. Really, I was not ready to be married at that point in time, because priorities were out of order. And when I say priorities were out of order, is that I didn't have my personal relationship with God at that time was not solidified and strong like it is today. So I had everything about life out of sequence. I had put him, and at that time I did have a child. And it was like God was an afterthought. I didn't have him number one, uno. Two, and I think about it, that played a part in it as well, because I did not have things in order. So within, talking about more healing, I healed. And the more I heal is that healing took place when I re-established my personal relationship with Christ, because it was a deep dive. It was like he peeled back. He allowed me instances in life as I traveled on that journey of healing. It was like an onion, and it was like layers were being pulled off of me. I talked about the forgiveness. I talked about apologizing. I talked about owning my own part that I played in for the demise of the marriage. And then I talked, I dealt more about how and what God had intended for my life. And that started leading into understanding my self-worth, my value, that I was and I am valuable, that I do have something to bring to the table, that I cannot no longer, and this is back then, I could no longer sell myself short than God's best that he has for me. So that's when the more I started deep diving in unpacking and understanding my worth, my self-value, loving myself, spending time with God, the more I just kept healing and healing and healing and more. And then it got to a point that I could talk to my ex without having anger in my heart. That I could, have a conversation with him concerning our son without looking at him with discontent or, making sly remarks. And then all within that, the healing, I got to the point where I started dating. I started dating me, dating myself, being comfortable with being by myself, meaning I didn't have to have another person or a significant other at that time in my life to tell me who I was. I started in the process of dating myself. I would get up in the morning and do affirmations. I would look in the mirror and just say, "You're a beautiful young lady," and that whoever gets you would be blessed to have you, because you're not only beautiful, you're smart, you're intelligent, you are God-fearing, and God has his hand on your life. So I had to tell myself that even more, because in any relationship, in anything that you have in life, when it doesn't work, you feel like a failure. And at that time, when I went through the divorce, I felt like a failure, because I'm like, okay, I committed myself to this person. And I'm like, we made plans for our future. We were going to do this, we were going to do that, but it didn't work. And when it didn't work, I felt like a complete failure, not realizing that I wasn't a failure. The marriage failed, the relationship failed, but I wasn't a failure. Because when I look back, I realized I shouldn't have been married to him in the first place, because we were on two different paths in life. But I must say this, the blessing that came out of that relationship is my son. And that's one thing I can never take back. I don't have any regrets about that. So I don't have regrets, because had it not happened the way it happened, meaning the marriage and the dissolution of it, I wouldn't be who I am today. So I look at it, that was a part of my story and a part of my journey to becoming who I am at this very moment. So next, I decided throughout that entire 15 years, and mind you, I did have some gentlemen who came up to me and they wanted to date me in the sense of, strictly platonic, meaning they would take me out to dinner, call me sometime, or go to lunch or something of that sort. But I didn't want that, because for one, I had young sons. I didn't want anybody to come in interfering with that relationship I had with them. They were not being, it could have been a little tumultuous, because they were not accustomed to having anybody else in their life with their mother. So I made a conscious decision, as I stated before, just to be single. Within the time frame of me not dating anyone and dating myself, then it led up to the point of what I decided I wanted and didn't want in my next relationship. So not only want in it, what I would and would not accept in my next relationship. So that goes back to the things I learned in being married to my ex, what I experienced and witnessed. There were certain red flags, should I say, that I can say I ignored. And when I look back and reflect and, analyze everything, I say, you know what? Now I know what to look for. And I'm not going to accept that. I can say this is that for whoever's looking at this video, and whether it be, you see it on the first day or replay, take it from me that regardless of how someone has treated you in the relationship, present, past, or future, make sure you forgive yourself. Make sure that you take time out before, if you're in a relationship that is right now and it's on the brink of dissolving itself, take time to be with you. Take time out to find out what you want and don't want in your next relationship. Say, when it does happen. Take time out to get to know you and date you. So when that person does come, you're ready for them. And then when they do come, take time out to get to know them as well. To see if, okay, is this going to work? Are y'all, meant for each other? Do y'all match? Do you have common goals and aspirations in life? And then also know your self-worth. Know your value. Know that just because you're with this person, you don't have to diminish your value or your self-worth. Know that, you have something of value to bring to the table. But first and foremost, have a personal relationship with God. Because if you have that, and then you meet that person and you think, okay, this could be the person. Seek, as Matthew 6:33 says, seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things will be added unto you. So make sure you seek out God for that relationship, for that person. To say, is this person meant for me and me for him? And vice versa. If you're male, is she for me and I'm for her? And whatever type of relationship it is, find out if this person is for you. So let me reiterate quickly what I stated and what I learned. So the first major thing is I learned to forgive my ex, then I learned to forgive myself. And in the duration of forgiving him and forgiving myself, then I had to go back and apologize. So that was another level of spiritual maturity. I learned to forgive. A lot of people don't like to do that because it seems like it's an admission of guilt or failure or your fault into something. But in actuality, it shows humility. It shows that you are mature enough to accept the downfall, your faults, or whatever the case may be, and that you can forgive yourself and move on. So that's part of your healing. That was part of my healing, forgiveness. Next, I took out time. So basically, those are two major things. I took out time for myself. I took out time to heal. I took out time to reestablish a relationship with God. I went back and analyzed got a little, not a little, but a lot. I understood my self-worth and my value to myself and to mankind and to the next person that I would fall in love with and, date first and then fall in love with. Then I took time out to date me, to find out who was Bessie, what she wanted in life, what she would accept and what she would not accept. So those are the things that I learned after being single for 15 years. And I hope it's beneficial to you, what I've spoken about. And if you're at that place, like I stated before, and your relationship is on the brink of demise or dissolution, take time out to heal before you move into the next relationship. You'll be surprised. When you unpack your baggage, you're not bringing baggage or dirty laundry with you for the next one, for them to clean up. So go be healed. Have a blessed day and happy holidays. Until I come back again, most likely it will be in the new year. So I will see you again fresh with new content in 2022. So take care. God bless. And again, before I go, if you have not, follow me on IG at Bessie S. Banks and Facebook at Bessie Stewart Banks. Again, this is your girl, Dr. BB. Love and peace.